Hey, welcome to another video. Thanks for joining me in this one. In this particular video, I would like to address a common problem amongst adults. So the question is it necessary to have a retirement account? According to the data out there, about 42% of young adults between 18 and 29 do not have a retirement account at all. Between the ages of 30 and 44, we have about 26% of those people having no retirement account. This tapers off gradually as you grow older because people start to realize that they need a retirement account in order to survive when they stop working. On my screen here, I'm going to draw something that we're going to call time. Please disregard if the lines are not straight. I'm using my mouse to do this, so it's going to be a bit more difficult to achieve a straight line. But the point is, you can see I have this line called time. And then we have this other line in the vertical axis called, we'll call it P, which is your potential. Okay. Now we know that as a young person, we have all the time in the world. Because we know that we have a lot of time in the world, we are not necessarily worried about anything. We enjoy the time, we play, we buy stuff that we don't really need to impress people that don't really care about us. No money. Now, we can all agree that over time, something is constant. Something will increase over time, and that is your expenses. When you start out in life, generally, we're living with our parents and we're taken care of until we get to the ages of, 18, 24 and finish college, and then we move out to get our first job. But the point is that your expenses increases over time. So the line for expense is going to look something like that, and then eventually it levels off, and then over time, at a certain age in the future, your expenses would taper off, and then eventually it goes down to almost nothing. Because at that point, we're thinking of you've already retired, and then you probably get to an age where you've been taken care of by somebody else. So your expenses would generally reduce later in life, okay? But you can see it doesn't go back to zero unless you die. That's the truth, all right? It doesn't go back to zero unless you die. Even at the age of 90 years old, you have some expenses unless you are being taken care of by somebody else. The next thing, so remember this is what we call expense. Difficult, I'm just gonna do that, your expenses, okay? That's your expense line. Another thing that we know that we have is our potential or earnings potential. We know that we all have a potential to do things. We all have talents, we all have gifts, but our earnings potential is very important because you might have all the gift in the world, but your ability to earn money from that gift is another story, for another video. So I'm not going to be covering that. Now, your earnings potential will generally start from zero as well. But what happens over time is that at some point along your time in life, okay, you start to earn money. And what happens is that it jumps up. It doesn't really go flatline, okay? It jumps up. And that is when also at some point your expenses starts to go higher afterwards. Okay, as you can see, this line is intentional over here because you can see the expense starts to go up because once you start earning money, you start to pick up responsibilities. Okay, you start to pay maybe your phone bill, your car notes, things of that nature. Your earnings potential goes up, and we can put numbers here. We can put one, or we can make it in dollar value, maybe 100, maybe 10,000, doesn't matter. But what will happen over time is that your earning potentials starts to fade, go along with the time, right? Because you start earning at a particular time, and going forward, what you want to do is to earn more money. And that would happen because you start gaining skills, you finish college, you have more education, and your earnings potential continues to go up. But you see what is happening with your expenses, right? Your expenses goes up as well. Now, we continue this, and eventually you get to a point in time where your earnings potential drastically increases, okay? Because at this point in time, what would happen is that you already have your life established, you're building your career, and this line would differ for everybody. This line would differ for male and female. But the point is that at some point, you would earn a lot of money, and you get to peak of your career, and what would happen is that your ability to earn starts to get to its peak, and it starts to taper off and move sideways. Eventually, your ability to earn starts to decline and also fall off, okay? And it falls off that way. And it falls off a little bit early because your expenses will continue to be there, but your ability to earn starts to diminish. And you see, these two lines that I've drawn out there are very important because there's so many ways we can try to work on our earnings potential and also control our expenses. But we know that expenses will continue to increase. Whether you like it or not, inflation will continue to push prices further to the higher points, whereas your earnings potential can be stagnated by the fact that you're not improving yourself, you're not getting new skills, you're not getting new knowledge and things of that nature. Why is this related to your retirement account? Well, the reason why this is related to your retirement account is this. You don't necessarily have to have a retirement account. You can choose to have other forms of investment. You can get, real estate. You can have, maybe some assets that just generate money for you, not necessarily a retirement account. But the point is that at some point in the future, your ability to earn gets to its peak and starts to fall off. When you get to that point, your expenses also get into its maximum at that point as well, which means that if you don't start to save for retirement early or plan to have something to support yourself when you get to that age in the future, you will start to run into problems in which you won't have enough money to cover your expenses, whereas your earnings potential starts to decline. Because whether you like it or not, you won't be able to work as much, you won't be able to take 2 jobs. Some people will run into health problems, some people will run into having kids and setting up a family, people die in the family, things of that nature. So it is very important that you think of that future in which you won't be able to earn more in the future. This is just my own, 2 cents to share about this information. You see this graph that I've shown here, I've actually had different ideas about it, and there's so many areas I can get into when it comes to earnings potential and explaining how we can all work this earnings potential to increase or decrease, or what causes it to change over time. Same thing with the expenses as well. We can talk about budgeting, we can talk about, cutting off unnecessary expenses. But the important thing is this: you get to a point in time in your life that you get to your maximum earnings that you can make at that point. What happens from there going forward, it starts to decline, and you need to start planning for that time early, which is why it is very important that you start a retirement account. Now, if you do choose not to have a retirement account, it is very important that you have other forms of investment that can support you when that time comes. I hope this all makes sense, and I hope that you found value through this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and also if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. For those of you that are interested in aviation, please understand that I've created another channel that focuses on aviation and flight training and things of that nature. So if you're interested in that, please check the description box below. You will see my link to the other channel. Please subscribe to that channel, as I'll be posting aviation related content on that channel. This is very intentional to make sure that there's no confusion in my audience. I hope that you found value through this, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the future.